Those of you who got an invite, welcome to Nerd Prom.
No matter where in the world you are, we're all nerds! International. With the hyphen.
Warning. This broadcast does contain foul language. If this is something that can or will offend you, you have the option to turn it off now. Hello and welcome to the Gathering of Dorks podcast. You've entered a realm of profanity, bodily functions, alcohol, gaming, and entertainment. If this is your first time joining us, thank you. Embrace yourself. Welcome back for our 55th episode. I'm Jaime. With me again is Blaine. What's up, Blaine?
How's it going?
And we also have Will. What's up, Willard?
What's going on, Sir Jameis?
Oh, all kinds of good stuff to talk about on this night.
That's kind of a redundant question right now, isn't it?
And we also have that limey bastard Ant. What's up, Ant?
Sky ceiling.
Oh, fuck. Here we go with that shit. And joining us for a actual podcast format, we have Frank. What's up, Frank?
Why am I last, you asshole? I'm the special guest. I should be first.
Because you're insignificant to the Dorks.
Oh,
Okay. You. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so there's introductions. Blaine, I want to see how much of the contact info you can just remember off the top of your head here.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, you can contact us on Twitter at TGO Dorks.
Twitter,
find us on Facebook at facebook.com/TGO Dorks. Of course, we also have our channel on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/TGO Dorks. And you can also find us on Nerds International with a hyphen.
Yes.
Jamie's Twitter address is jpearson77. 71. Blaine is at Quatto Valor. Will is at Willard the Dork, and I am at El Garrick. You
awesome.
can email us on thegatheringofdorks@gmail.com.
Blaine, you're fired.
Yeah.
No shit.
You've been replaced by a red coat. And don't forget.
With that being, I have no job anymore. That's actually the last thing I was actually doing on the show.
Yeah, that's the only reason you were here.
Talking about a lot of this. All right.
Don't forget to also look for us on our Google Plus page, and definitely get to iTunes and leave us an iTunes review. And the forums are actually alive. We won't say active at this point, but they are definitely alive. Nerds hyphen.
The address is
Oh, go ahead, Ant.
nerds-international.proboards.com.
That's right. Get over there. Each of the shows do have their own forums. So get over there and check it out. Okay, we're going to get on over into what's happening because this has been one hell of a night already. Alrighty. What's happening, fellas? I'm not even going to fucking go there on how my day's been. Blaine, how you doing?
I'm good.
You sound like it.
Well, we just got rained out at work, and we're probably rained out tomorrow, and probably Thursday, and probably Friday. So I'm just kind of whatever.
Sitting around pounding the pud?
Yeah, pretty much.
Will, how about you, dude? What's up?
I'm on days off, and I was really hoping to play tonight, but that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen now. So
here we are recording a podcast.
Yep, unfortunately, it's just a podcast. For those who are joining us in chat tonight, we apologize for that. This was supposed to be the first episode of the listener voted in Warhammer, but shit more or less hit the fan. We were having problems with Fantasy Grounds tonight, so that's pretty unfortunate. And how about you, dude? It's been a while since you've surfaced on the show outside of running Star Wars. How you doing?
I think you should do Frank first because he's special.
Oh, sorry. Everyone,
let me last again.
See, by the end of the show, he would have worked his way to just after you. With each segment, he can move up the slot.
I'm surprised Frank didn't cut you off on the contact info and start filling in. How are you, Frank? Hi, Frank.
Screw you, you hippies. All right, Ant, your turn.
There you go.
Okay. I'm fine. I'm waiting for my Lego Ghostbusters Firehouse to arrive.
You can actually slide down the pole.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Real
a
quick,
grown man who buys Legos too, but I buy them for my kids.
real quick, want to get a couple of things out there too. Running the final GoFundMe game this Sunday, D&D Homebrew. It is a one shot that I wrote that Will is going to be joining us for. And in other news, talking about D&D, writing this module made me realize yet again, it was a friendly little reminder of just how much I can't stand writing for D20. So, 17th is the date, Will?
It hasn't changed.
Okay, so the 17th.
I just gotta say one thing though. At least you're like not even bothering with the first session now.
No,
before
dude.
you give up on.
No. Well, that's a separate issue for off the air. But so I couldn't do it. I wrote this D&D homebrew for this Sunday for the GoFundMe folks. You guys wanted D&D. Of course I'm going to run D&D for you. But it just reminded me on how much of a time sink it is just to even write anything for that fucking system. It's either take an hour to stat up an NPC or flip through a book and find something that's challenge rating appropriate. And I can't fucking stand it. So anyways, Will, you're going to be picking up the slack and you're going to be running your Icewind Dale homebrew. Do you want to give a little bit of info on that one?
Yeah, basically, Jaime said I don't want to do it, and so give it to the guy who doesn't give a fuck about rules. And he's just going to throw something out there, and it's going to be massive role-playing and story.
Roll something.
Roll something.
Yeah.
Challenge what? That's 3-5, isn't it?
Of course you're level 1 and you can go up against a Balor.
I'll just knock his stats down.
Jamie's challenge is staying awake writing it.
So the,
Yeah, that's my challenge rating, yes.
the background is basically we're going to be running through. Essentially, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe, players. If Chris does end up joining with us, we'll have 4 NPCs, or PCs, I mean, and they're going to be traveling to Icewind Dale for whatever reason, which they will figure out over the next couple of weeks. Adventure.
Because it helps the story.
Because it helps the story, and I got a PDF that I sent out to everybody, and we'll be doing that, running through a handful of. I don't know how long it's going to take, James. It may not even make it to level 10. I don't think that's. It's just it has a start point and an end point, and once we reach that end point, it's done. So now, for me, I mean, I would. I don't know if Blaine can hear me, but for me, running something.
No, he's not in his chair.
Well, his headphones extend to his across the street
Bathroom.
To his loo, Aunt, isn't that right? To his loo.
Yeah.
His headphones extend to the liquor store down the street.
As they should.
He's got the coily ones, so if he runs too fast, it pulls him back like a dog on a leash.
But campaigning in Icewind Dale is something I've always wanted to done. Not only always wanted to do because of the books and then the video games as well. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be fun. Again, dude, I can't. I think I got to give a shout out to Mr. Thomas Arwen's Bow, because I think he called me out on, it was Twitter or Google Plus or something. He was like, what, the guy who said he's not doing D&D anymore is going to homebrew? Well, Thomas, no. The answer is no. I'm not going to. So
Hey, at least we give the fans what they want.
yeah, exactly. Jaime not DMing D&D homebrew. Blaine, you're back. Real quick, do you want to give another plug for your YouTube channel?
Yeah. I have a YouTube channel started. We have a couple games up there that Jaime and I have been playing, Sword Coast Legends, and it's Quato Valor at YouTube. So check it out. QUATTOVALLOR.
Yep.
Just like his Twitter.
Yep.
And there should be a third and fourth video coming up pretty soon. The third one is going into editing because I'm going to do basically a intro and outro, and then I should be able to get that one out, and then Jaime and I should record the fourth pretty soon.
Yep, it should very soon. So what we decided last minute, because we were running, 30 minutes late. Again, we're having problems. I'm pissed off. I've been bitching about wanting to play Warhammer forever. Ant, I know you've been wanting to play Warhammer for a long fucking time. Blaine actually enjoyed it.
Got one free, and then just basically cut us off.
Yeah. Again, a conversation for off the air. But we were finally going to do it, and I'm glad it got voted in, but I'm pissed off because I want to put your asses in the old world. Frank, you know a little bit about the old world version. I think you said you're more fluent in 40K, though, right?
Yeah, I prefer 40K, but it would have been fun to finally play something Warhammer.
Well, should hopefully next time around on a Dorks night, that's exactly what we're going to do. So the audible for tonight is we're going to go ahead and do a review show, if you will, on Ant's homebrew for the Vunshun initiative. So
this is kind of like the new format for that when we do the thingy bob. Basically, it's like, as far as I understand it, we'll play we'll win a voted one, and then we'll analyse it after.
yes,
Is that how it's going to go?
yes, that's exactly what we're going to do for this Warhammer one too. Is we're going to get down and break it all down. And
All I heard was Ozzy Osbourne talking right now.
just start yelling, Sharon.
Sharon!
No, so let me kick it off first of all. It was a Star Wars session that I tried homebrewing, and that failed miserably. Ant took it over because we were going to round robin that one anyways, if you remember right. I was going to GM a handful, Ant was going to GM a handful, and it turned out to where it was just like, Ant, I got other shit going on. Here, take it. And I'm glad you did. I actually had a lot of fun playing that Star Wars campaign. Give a synopsis, if you would, Ant, of what the whole overall story arc was all about.
Basically, you were hired to go and get allegedly what was a biological weapon called the Vunshun, which was meant to be a hut disease. It was held on a secret location, research base, which you travelled to with no planning. You then met up with your contact on the ship, and then went after the what you were meant to go after with no planning. And then you found out Vunshun was actually the name of a robot who is now living in your ship.
Now, the first thing I got to ask is, was that a decision from the word go, or was that an on-the-fly decision about the Vunshun and being the robot?
No, it was always the case.
Okay.
That
So then, I guess what we discussed before is we talked about there's going to be a hand wave of time, and we're going to be playing. I'll be playing the same character. Yeah. Will, you're going to be playing the same character. Blaine, are you sticking with Obark? You're muted, stupid.
Yeah, I think so. I think
stupid.
I think I'm. Yes.
Well, every time he talks, and I talk over him.
Yeah. So you are going to continue with Obark. Frank, I think Tyrael was probably put in an airlock and released somewhere in the Dathomir system.
Yes. He's gone forever.
Can I ask you, Frank, on that? Why is that? Because I kind of liked how Tyrael handled the last. I think it would have been great for some conflict in the party. I'm just kind of curious why you got away from it, or why you don't want to do it no more.
There was just no character. I kind of just made that up on the spot, the type of character, but I never actually built like his personality or anything, because I didn't know what I was getting into with the Star Wars, and it's got to the point where I just don't really want to play him. I want to build a new character. It'll probably still be a conflicting character, but something that I actually want to play.
I'm detecting a pattern here, Valera.
Creating characters that are not nice to anybody.
All I said was conflict. I didn't say I didn't say crack whore. I didn't say a crack whore. That was going to be the Warhammer character.
Were you going to get something in there, Blaine? Or are you sitting?
No, it's good.
You're busy watching chat. Again, hello, thank you everyone for joining us tonight, even though we're supposed to be playing Warhammer. Then let me ask this. Let me go around the table here. Blaine, when you first... Yeah, I'm going to fuck with you, Blaine, because I see you watching chat over there. When you first rolled up Obark, was it just kind of a, oh, that sounds cool? Or what were your thoughts on it? Was it something you really wanted to play, and then you felt like developing him further? Or is it just still kind of a, it's a character?
What happened with him was that I rolled him up more so as a stalker. Like, you know, he had all the attributes of his race for basically being a bounty hunter, and he ended up being more so fell into the friendship kind of realm with the other characters. So he totally developed almost completely opposite of how I intended him to. So that's just how it happened. But I ended up liking the character, so I'm gonna stick with him.
And Will, how about Cyric?
Oh, good old Cyric.
And I do have a small bone to pick with you with Cyric too.
Don't go anywhere near Cyric's bone.
Yeah, I'm not.
No, I'm like, wait a minute.
It
Yeah,
might end up in you.
I'm not a Twi'lek in a fucking closet. So
Cyric, and Cyric's roots begin in Bane. I think I've explained this before. Obviously, we know what Bane was. We've talked about him extensively. I wanted the anti-Bane, the Force-sensitive, fun-loving, gambling, life-loving type of guy that he is.
womanizer.
Will use the Force to get laid. Not necessarily a bad guy, but not a sleazeball, if you will.
I use Force Roofie.
He's a sleazebag that's learning. And Ant put it best to me out of a conversation we had maybe about a month ago, is Cyric's a kid. He was in the Jedi Academy until, obviously, Order 66 happened, and he was released into the world. And he's been a kid ever since. Basically, he's that same 13-year-old boy who's learning. And at the end of the Vunshun incident, but realizing that this stormtrooper was just executed. And then with Pax, his development into, man, this shit's kind of real, is coming out. And I'm just loving developing this character from a kid to an adult.
I'll tell you what, I will actually ask about that, because to me, that came out of, like, nowhere. That did.
What part?
The bit where he just turned around and went, "Rah!" at everyone for killing the stormtrooper.
That was the bone I was going to pick with you, because actually earlier in that session, when the stormtroopers were going to board our ship with us, now I don't know if this was Cyric that made the remark or if it was Will that made the remark, but the remark that you said was, "Oh, I ain't got no problem killing a couple of Imperials."
I don't remember saying it. I may have said it.
You
I
did.
don't remember. I did.
Yeah, and I was like, and then you started giving me this fucking throwing the Bible at me shit, and I'm like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
The only defense that I could put up for it is, I think it came out towards the end of the session where Pax asked me if I've never killed it. I said, yeah, I've killed Imperials before, but it's been in self-defense. I've never killed defeated a kneeling Imperial, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
In other words, the way that Cyric seen it was, there's a difference between defending oneself and then committing murder.
No, I get that. I mean, we don't have to rehash the fucking argument. I was just simply saying that was something that you had said before they boarded, and then, like I said, I felt like all of a sudden I landed in Indiana in the Bible Belt, and I was getting it thrown at me.
Here you are in Utah. But that being said, though, whenever part of the character developed too is when he went up and he see that you were on the telly with your wife.
Morgan said your moral high horse in chat.
For fuck's sake, Morgan. It's
You got a nosebleed. That's how high that horse was.
Yeah, up there with Frank in the Rockies.
Yeah, fucking nosebleed and an oxygen mask.
So whenever he went and seen the reason why you did what you did and what you're trying to protect, he kind of understood why you did what you did. Because I don't know if I told you this, Jamie, but Cyric's entire family was killed, or at least I'm assuming was killed, on Alderaan.
Yeah, you told me about that after when I was having this conversation with my wife and all that.
Right.
Now, Frank, I think the only thing that really stands out with Tyrael was being too drunk to drop off Negus and the Vunshun to the rebels, because you're like, I can't fucking talk. I'm going back to the ship.
Yes, pretty much. Tyrael had a bit too much there, I guess, somewhere.
No,
That's okay.
Now, I mean, I hate to phrase it this way, but I have to phrase it this way because Tyrael was just basically the fly on the wall for the whole session. Right. You're talking about a character who's going to be still conflicting, so to say. But
right.
Are you going to be taking more of a forefront in the roleplay part of all of it with your new character?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the main issue I had with Tyrael, like, it was in the second session, I think, and it just felt useless. And I didn't talk, and it just kind of felt boring. I was just sitting there, and I was like, crap, I can't do anything. I have nothing to do. I don't really have a character. So I can't really say much because what am I going to do? And then the third session, I just finally said, you know what, screw it. I'm going to make someone who's going to kind of throw a wrench in the works here.
Yeah. Well, that you did, and it probably got your ass dropped off on a different planet. Are you guys getting horrible connection on Frank's end too? Frank, you might want to drop him the call. Will, if you can add him back.
Me? All right.
Yeah. And
I'll add you right back.
so, Ant, what's...
let's talk about Frank, quick.
Yeah, hurry up. That motherfucker, I hope he never plays Star Wars with us again.
Stupid Tyrael and Valera.
Yeah.
Fucking can only name a character after a Game of Thrones one. Oh, hi, Frank. How are you?
Oh, hello.
Nothing but good things to say about you while you were gone, Frank.
I see how it is.
Now, when you wrote this, because you said, Ant, at the end of us dropping Vunshun off with the rebels and taking off...
We still have Vunshun, I think.
Well, it made itself a part of our ship, if I remember right.
Yeah.
I think you find you lot made it a part of your ship.
Well, yeah. So what was the plan then with the Marquis? Or is that something that you need to stay hush-hush because it's something that we could potentially...
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you about future plots if you want, you know.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was something that was...
It's something that's going to come back and bite you in the arse, if you haven't guessed.
Oh, yeah, well, because Pax was obviously pretty pissed off that he was being set up. So that's why I was curious, because I can't remember after we got done playing that night, we went off the air, if you said that you were doing anything else with the Marquis or not, but he's a rat bastard, and I want to kill that motherfucker.
Yeah, there's no way that I'm going to allow him to go and do what he's going to do to innocent people.
Well, the question is, did he know? That's what you've got to see. You don't know whether he knew or not.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Because the thing is, basically, you all got on your moral high horse of, oh, look, he can do all this biological weapon stuff. Let's give it to the rebellion.
Oh, so here's the $1 million question. Is Borsk dead with the station?
Yes. Yes.
Many Bothans died.
Yeah, one Bothan died.
No, this is the $1 million question. Which Lyndon character is more in pieces, Coleman or Borsk?
Yeah, Borsk is more spread out. Borsk is definitely more spread out now.
Lyndon does have a happenstance to all of his characters being blown into millions of pieces, so awesome.
Well,
Now-
before I was killed, I was actually... The reason my character is going to be conflicting is I was thinking about making a former Imperial officer that turned.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But a former Imperial officer that was on the Death Star when it destroyed Alderaan.
Ooh.
That's what I was thinking. So that's why when you said that, I was like, conflicting.
What was your job on the Death Star? I pushed the button.
I pushed the button.
I was the guy that made it go. That was my job.
I just stood behind everyone.
That's actually pretty cool. I'd run with that.
Oh, I
That's what I
like
was
it.
looking for. When we get around to it, I got to get Ant to help me make the new character. But
Well, here will be your conflicting point. Is Pax is going to have one hell of a time trusting you.
oh yeah,
And
that's
you
what I
were-
was thinking. I was like, first, everyone's going to kind of have a problem once they find out the former Imperial having a problem that he was also on the Death Star. That would be, I think it would play cool.
So then,
on the 18th, so not that far away.
yeah,
Yeah, I got to get with Ant.
Yeah, there's something
New character.
So then, on the whole, Blaine, Mr. Quiet Reading Chat, what did you think about that whole Star Wars thing as a whole? Let me put it to you this way, especially with the way that we did things in 2015. With here's a character, play a character, I'm done. Let's talk about it. Here's a character, play a character, I'm done. Let's talk about it. Did you ever get that feeling of I'm back to this character, I'm in this character again, or did it just drag that feeling of here's another character?
A little of both. I felt overwhelmed with the space station where we got Vunshun, but I think character development initially with him. So I just want to say that I can't wait to play him again because I'm diving more into that character now that the ship is, or Vunshun's part of the ship, and that I'm hopefully making new friends instead of more enemies like the people that are probably after my ass right now.
I'd like to talk about Borsk. I'm sorry, I always get them mixed up. Obark, a little bit, and it seemed like when Obark became Obark was the moment when he pulled the blaster on Bane and said, "Where are you going?" And that's when your character came out, and
He broke. Yeah, definitely a mental breakdown at that point.
Right, and your character has been flying ever since, and it's been freaking awesome what Obark is turned into. He's kind of a scumbag, but you don't hate him. If that makes any sense.
Oh, come on, if we're talking scumbags, let's look at Cyric. I'll use the Force.
Okay, we're talking about Obark right now. All right.
Let's go to the
We'll talk about Cyric later.
Yeah,
I
are all your... Oh,
I just
are
wanna
all
say
your
real-
characters... Oh, sorry, Blaine.
That's okay. I just want to say real quick, and then I'll be done. And I think Obark is changing. His whole mental attitude, bounty hunter, like I said, was to be this guy who goes out there, makes a shitload of money, doesn't really care about anybody, but he's finding himself getting close to the people in the party, and he feels like he has friends that he can trust. So his attitude towards life is changing.
Let me ask you this, and this is something I was actually curious with Obark is, once we found out what the Vunshun was and why the Marquis wanted him, and you were the one working for Marquis, why were you so, you know what, we can't let him get this? I mean, it's almost like Obark found a moral compass.
He did, and he's really... It's not coming out yet. He's not expressing this, but deep down, he's like, dude, we should be helping the freaking rebellion right now. And so he's going to push all his decisions in that direction. I don't know if that's Blaine coming out in him. It probably is, to be honest with you, but I just feel like Obark is leaning that way now. Like, especially after the way the rebellion came to the space station and just like, or excuse me, the Empire came to the space station and just took over. Like the way their attitude is towards everybody in the universe, galaxy, versus, like I said, the friends he's making now.
So are you going to continue along the same path with them as far as the bounty hunter tree, or do you find yourself diving over into some red book of Age of Rebellion?
Hard to say. Honestly, in his mind, he's still a bounty hunter. He's still a tracker. He's still a person who can go out there and find things. He just hasn't had the opportunity to be able to really do that yet. So maybe he's hoping to find his place with the rebellion in that aspect.
So, I'm sorry, Jamie, do you have something else to say?
No, go ahead.
I was actually going to take over the hosting reins for 2 seconds and talk about PAX.
Oh, okay.
Because it seems like we talked extensively off the air about your mistakes with PAX. But one thing I didn't get, it was all about getting back to my family. And then you contacted your family, and it's like, well, we need to go make the stop on whatever planet. I forget which planet they were from, but you're like, no, I need to trust that they're going to get there, so we're just going to continue to do this Marquis mission. I'm not saying it's out of character, but it seems like Pax would want to make physical contact with his family before he would want to just go contact this or go deal with this Marquis situation.
Well, like I said, from the word go, after we played the first session when I had PAX, it was, we were supposed to play this tonight, fellas, sorry. It was a total dick move to make a character the way I made PAX, and I had to chat with Ant about it on the side. And what it really came down to with PAX is it helps the story. That's all it was. I couldn't keep playing this, for lack of better words, cocksucker that was just going to keep running the party and trying to pull the party in the wrong direction. So, I mean, call it a hand wave of what was said, but I just had to still keep it as one of his more or less obligations, but not to the forefront of, fuck you guys, I gotta get home. Huh?
We have resolved that, though. Remember our conversation about he left the rebellion, and that has been resolved now.
Yeah,
about why he needs to care for his family.
Yeah, so, I mean, we got it all straightened out, but, I mean, that was the biggest reason in the end, is just because I couldn't keep playing a character that didn't want to be there. That didn't make any sense. I mean, that's just, I'm sorry, but that's fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Hey, let's keep this guy in the story, but he doesn't want to be there. Let's just hear him bitch and cry the whole time. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So, what's Pax's take on everything right now?
He wants to get to the marquee because he's fucking pissed that he got pulled into a situation he didn't want to be pulled into, and his family was being used as leverage.
Yeah, but the thing is, you are blaming Obark for that. So why not just kill Obark?
Because had it not been for Obark, we would have never wound up in that situation.
Exactly. Why not just kill Obark?
You've actually got to remember you were on retainer from the marquee before you started.
No, that's true. That's true. Well, I think a big part of it, too, like I said, I think during that session was that at the time, Pax was just really looking for somebody to blame. Because God knows it's not going to be his fault.
So how does he feel about Obark now?
Probably like when you get in a fight with your old lady. You motherfucker, blah, 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 blah. Come back an hour later. I'm sorry. You know?
Okay.
Just one of those situations.
Here's a 50-cent question, and I would ask about Tyrael, but Tyrael's going to be gone. What does Pax think about Cyric?
It's still valid.
Yeah, so it's very valid. What does Pax think about Cyric?
Well, let's do Tyrael first, since it's still valid.
Yeah, Frank.
Are all your characters from previous, or is it just Blaine's?
Just Blaine's.
Just Blaine's.
Just Blaine's? Oh, okay. Tyrael was just really focused on the money. Like, his whole point of his character was being a bounty hunter. That was kind of his drive for life. He really didn't have a huge opinion on anybody. He had enemies and former and situational acquaintances.
So basically, he's like a mercenary.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Until you get blown up on an airlock.
Well, that's his own fault.
As far as the way Pax saw Cyric, is that he was just an absolute immature shit. 100% immature shit. Because he wasn't there to see Cyric pull his move to get the group through. You know what I mean? Pax wasn't there for that. When you were banging the Twi'lek in the closet, Pax wasn't there for that. He was with Borsk getting the information out of the computer.
That's right, yeah.
And what's the next communication that Pax had with Cyric? Pax, what? I got laid. It's like, good for you. You know, so Pax just looks at Cyric as like, fuck, now we have to babysit this guy. So that's
he doesn't hate him.
No, he doesn't hate him, but you know, he's not obligated to be with him.
I think I sent you the text. I don't remember what you said something about Cyric, and I said you have to treat him like SpongeBob right now. That's how he's acting.
And Pax is definitely Squidward in all this.
So that's kind of the relationship right now that's going towards.
So all in all, go around the table here. Blaine, what do you think about the adventure as a whole?
I enjoyed it a lot. I just I hated the fact that a lot of it was on my obligation or kind of like laid on his hands, but at the same time, I think that's going to help with character development in the future. He's basically going to squirm a little bit now, so we'll see how that works out. But on the whole, I think Ann did a fantastic job, so I enjoyed playing the character. I enjoyed the session.
Cool. Willard?
Hello?
Uh-oh, did Will freeze up? Oh, there he is.
It is. I have to say this, and this Ant, dude, hats off. If no offense, Jamie, but if someone's going to GM me Star Wars, it's going to be Ant. Mm-hmm. Because he just knows not only the system, but the universe ins and out. I mean, he knows every planet. He knows the people on those planets. He doesn't have to spend time looking at a book to find it.
Right.
I have no complaints. We did what we wanted to do, and Ant found a way to get us to the point, from point A to point B, basically. And fantastic. No complaints at all.
Frank?
Yeah, I kind of agree that Ant was very Star Wars-y, like I am very Cthulhu-y. You don't really need the book for that. You just kind of can make up a worthwhile story and take people through it. And I liked it. And That's kind of why I want to rebuild a character that actually cares about the universe and actually is in the universe rather than something I'm just trying to drag through.
Right. And me personally, and I had a blast. I thought it was great. It, great twists. I think, like I told you early on, it felt Sandbox as all living hell, even though it wasn't. It was a fucking module, and there was rails put out in front of us, but it felt very Sandbox. I thought it was a fucking great job.
Well, the thing is, basically, the way I look at it is like, here's your objective. How you get there is up to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's what I was saying. You had no planning on anything. You just went and did what you wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, and that's what was good about it too, is because it was one big objective from the word go. It wasn't like, let's do 15 small objectives to get to this big objective. That's what I think really made it feel Sandbox too, is it was, everything was laid out in front of us right away, as opposed to, oh, we found a note that says the assassins are after us. You know what I mean? I thought it was great, and I liked the role play side of it. It was a lot of fun.
And when you say lack of planning, are you talking about the characters themselves? Like, you thought that the characters should have had more forethought?
God,
We just went in and shot the place up.
Well, what I mean is, did that make it more difficult for you, and that's something that you'd like to see us not do in the future?
God, no, it don't make it any more difficult or any more harder, basically.
Okay.
It's just I knew there were certain things that were going to happen whether you did it or not. And basically it's how you either stopped it or just ignored it and let you get on with it.
Yeah. It worked out good.
Because the Imperials coming on the base was entirely your fault.
Yep.
Because if you had have done a bit more planning and got on the base in a different way, and that, you would have, they wouldn't have invaded. Because all of a sudden you turn up, you get arrested, and then alarms started going off, and things started to get hacked.
Well, wasn't that because Will was trying to pick up on the Spatian administrator?
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Not with.
No, it's also the fact. It's also the fact that you tried to. It's also the fact that you tried to get on a spaceship without knowing why you were going there. Because you went, "What are you here for?" And you were all like,
We're here to check out a problem that happened 2 years ago.
yeah. What problem was that? Reasons.
Yeah.
Stuff.
I do remember that being very uncomfortable. So
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, we had a
I
plan.
don't think Sarek was ever uncomfortable at anything.
I don't know. That cupboard was pretty small.
That's true.
But he
Well,
put
she was pretty large, so it's all right.
But he put himself in a comfortable place. So all in all, Ant, definitely, like Will, dude, hats off. It was good. It was very Star Wars. I had a lot of fun. And
I'll say this: it's been brought up, and I'm surprised it wasn't brought up tonight. But when I actually stopped Ant from GMing for a good 2 months. You guys don't remember that?
oh yeah, with the Doug. That was one of the highlights. I remember Art, our listener Art, he really got a kick out of that part too.
What?
What was that?
The Doug looks at him and goes, and it was silence for a few seconds. It was silence for a few seconds, and Sarah goes,
that was
what? It actually took Ant back a little bit. He's like, I don't know what to say. That was pretty good. So
That was good.
I definitely look forward to playing more. I'm going to continue to play PAX. We're going to see how Frank's character works out. So I think all in all, a very good job, Ant. Now I'm going to call another audible here because we're only 40 minutes into this. I'm thinking that we break it down for a commercial right quick and then we get into a Dorks Discuss. I got a topic I think I'd like to discuss with Ant.
Sounds good. I gotta be. It better not be superheroes.
No, God no. So, all right, we'll break it down for just a minute for a commercial, and then we'll be back to do a Dorks Discuss. Blaine, what are we doing here?
It's time.
Time for what?
It's finally time to record a commercial for the Wild Die podcast.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay, let's do this.
The Wild Die is a podcast all about Pinnacle Entertainment's Savage Worlds, the most adaptable role-playing game system on the market.
On this show, we'll be talking about everything from edges to full-blown settings. Together, we will learn the most interesting things this system has to offer.
So join us as we answer your questions, talk about sessions, and discuss ways to take Savage Worlds to the next level.
So make sure to look for the Wild Die podcast on Nerds International, where the quest for knowledge has just begun. For Dorks Discuss topic, I'd like to definitely, now that you're here, to chat about. And Frank, now that you're here too, I think that you're a very good participant to be in this one because of the Call of Cthulhu scenario you just ran. The Illusion of Sandbox.
All right.
I've been wanting to talk to you about this one for a while, and I think we may have touched on it briefly on a previous Dorks Discuss when you weren't with us, but I want to discuss this with you because you're the one that dubbed it with the title of The Illusion of Sandbox. Why do you call it an illusion?
Yeah, because it is. Basically, you always have a plot, and if you have a plot, then it's not Sandbox. It's that simple, really.
But okay. Well, Frank, going into your... Let's bounce off Frank here for a minute first. Going into your adventure that you ran for the Call of Cthulhu, 100%, you wrote it. Did you feel it to be a Sandbox-style adventure when you wrote it, or did you feel it that you were writing a module, for lack of better words?
It's heavily module. It was definitely railed.
You're saying, oh, it's a module. It's a module. Every game is a module.
Right. Yeah, I understand.
Because true Sandbox would be, our characters are going to go do this. Okay. And I know the only way you can actually do that is if you're playing evil characters.
I disagree.
If you want the truth. No. Because otherwise, the DM has to come up with what you're doing. He has to supply, oh, look, this town needs this to save them. And that the DM always has to supply you options, at which point he's got an adventure. He's just giving you the choice of which bit you go and do. Right? Whereas if your true Sandbox is the players generate the content, not the other way around.
Well, yeah,
exactly.
A Sandbox. I mean, any rail system, you have an endpoint. You have to reach that endpoint. Sandbox, there is no endpoint. It doesn't exist. There's simply here's the area, do what you want. That's a Sandbox. Anytime you have a goal, you remove Sandbox.
Yeah, so as soon as a player commits to I'm doing this, you're in module.
It is, but it isn't. And this is why I disagree. Is let's say you had this quote unquote Sandbox, right? And this is the way I did the homebrew that I did years ago. Is everything I did as a DM was reactive. I mean, literally written on the fly. There was no module until it became, after sessions and sessions and sessions and sessions, when I finally went, this is how it's all going to tie together. So it was 100% the players ran the show. I didn't. That's
but as soon as you get to that end point, you're out of Sandbox. You're not in a Sandbox at all.
But at any point,
And
they
the
could have
fact
went.
is,
They could have went fuck this and went on to somewhere else.
But that you do that with anything. Basically, that's why Sandbox is an illusion. Oh look, I'm not being funny. It happened in Call of the Dragon Queen. Oh look, we're going here. Oh well, you go there, and oh look, everyone's pointing you to this place. You know what I mean? So that's why Sandbox is an illusion. And
yeah, but I think what Jamie's saying is that unless it's pre-written, you can't really call it railed, because if you look at a quest as the characters are doing something, and then they say something, and the GM goes, "Hey, that sounds good. Let's go in that direction," and takes it in that direction, and then the players do something else, and he's like, "Oh, that sounds good too. Let's keep going with that." In other words, it's almost like player written. And then at one point, you finally realize, hey, there's a whole bunch of little plots going on. I can finally tie these all together if I put this into the game. It doesn't necessarily mean the players have to take the bait or they have to go in that direction, but it's still Sandbox because they have that choice. Whereas with a pre-written module, you have to keep pointing them towards that end goal.
Why do you need the DM then in a Sandbox scenario?
The DM is nothing but reactive. The DM is the stage, and the players are the actors. I mean, not a word of a lie. How many sessions, Blaine and Will, how many sessions did I show up to, well, at my own house, where I was like, dude, I can't wait for this session. You guys are like, why? What do you got planned? I'm like, nothing. I can't wait to see what happens.
Well, yes and no. And the only thing right now that I could think of that's been true Sandbox is Dungeon World, is because you showed up with a box of empty cards and you go, there it is. Let's go.
See that's what Sandbox is. Sandbox is a more collaborative experience.
Well, that's what it was in my old homebrew, too. It can very easily be done.
All the thing is Sandbox, basically, Sandbox it just means that you're hiding the rails better than most people.
That's a good point.
Yeah, to an extent. Okay, so think of...
Because using Star Wars as an example, yeah, I knew where I wanted you to go, and that, yeah, and how you got there was up to you. Basically, I just hid the rails really well. I gave you tidbits of information. It's like the Ithorian guy you met that you all really liked was made up at that moment in time.
Right. Well, okay, Morgan put something in chat here, and this is exactly how I always used to think of it. Was sort of reminds me of if someone were to run Skyrim on a tabletop RPG environment. And that's exactly one of the things I did way back in the day, is I created a whole west coast of a continent, and I said, if they go here, this is a little hook.
Sandbox.
Huh?
Skyrim's not a sandbox, it's an illusion of sandbox. Same thing is Skyrim. Okay. Your goal in all of Skyrim is to take on Alduin. That's not a sandbox. Your goal is to get to that point. Now, when you defeat Alduin, can you keep playing the game? Yeah, but now you have no goal. At that point, Skyrim then turns into a sandbox because you have no goal.
Well, even before then, because you don't have to do the main quest.
No, you don't have to, but you're supposed to. That's kind of the point of the game. Same thing with Oblivion and doing that. But because I was thinking video games, EVE Online is as pure of a sandbox you can get. There is no goal. There is no final boss. There's nothing. You go into the game, you do what you want. You want to go do missions, you go do missions. You want to mine, you mine. There is no goal.
EverQuest was like
there is no top. You just do it.
No, EverQuest had plots.
Yeah, EverQuest was what they call a theme park. Star Wars Galaxies, the original, that was a true sandbox. It was the same thing, but go ahead, Blaine.
If I am to adhere to Ant's realization that there really is no sandbox, then my question to him would be, or there is a sandbox, but it's definitely as soon as you get a plot, there it goes out the window. My question then to Ant would be, would you prefer a sandbox or would you prefer the plot? In other words,
you guys, I'm not being funny. The thing is with Sandbox is there is always a DM always has to have a plot. Otherwise, it'll be we want to go do this. Oh, hang on a minute. Let me book dive. I'll put together your encounter. You know. Okay, right. You've got these three villages. Okay, we'll go to village B. Okay, well they've got rats and they're killing in a cellar.
Village B suddenly looks a lot like Village A and Village C.
Exactly.
To me, it seems like for a tabletop to be pure sandbox before it started, and then whenever they went out, you would have it, but you would have no plot or story there. There would be no goal to go there. It would basically be I already have all this built.
We going back to what Jamie was saying earlier, we started off in a city with part of a coast built, and that was about it. me, Blaine, Lyndon, and some other guys built the rest of that continent into what it became. Which was I don't want to use the term completely sandbox, but it seemed like it was a good mashup of both. And maybe that's kind of the way a GM might want to consider looking into things is there has to be, well, there doesn't have to be, but it's good to have an ultimate goal, especially if you want something to end and not go forever.
But yeah, that's the point of a sandbox, is a sandbox never ends.
Yeah, it's like Jimmy Fett in chat. So GTA is a sandbox. Open world progressive story missions taken in very order decided by players. Right, as soon as you've got progressing story, it's not a sandbox.
Right. The problem is once you add a goal, you remove sandbox.
But that seems like such a fucking semantics thing to me. I mean,
No,
because
that's
it really
how
is,
Sandbox
though.
has been defined. That's how Sandbox has been defined.
No, but
that's why I said, like, EVE Online, there is no ultimate goal.
But even then,
you do whatever you want.
If you're playing a tabletop and you guys just all sit down with one goal in mind, which is to let's see what happens, that's a sandbox. Just because the DM is being reactive and putting the situations in front of the player does not turn it into a module. I'm sorry, but that's not the case.
I would agree as long as you have no final goal. Basically, when the RPG is only done when you just decide to stop playing it.
Right.
That would be the end of a sandbox. But the second you add a goal, the second you say, okay, now there's a dragon queen you have to kill, bam, you're no longer in the sandbox.
But are we talking about small goals or big goals? Because if you look at it, we walk into a tavern. Okay, hold on, hear me out. We walk into a tavern and all of a sudden a fight erupts and we take a side. You're telling me that instantly becomes a storyline, even if the quarrel is just right there in that tavern. So does that mean that no longer is a sandbox, or is that just simply the GM being reactive?
No,
that's a quarrel in a tavern.
Okay, well then why doesn't that?
As soon as you go to a town and you take a job, or you take a mission, that's it.
Yeah.
You're out of sandbox.
So
you're not actually setting a border. You're just saying that some things are sandbox and some things aren't, because a quarrel in a tavern might be your job. The town guard might say, look, you guys want to prove yourselves, go in that tavern, break up that fight.
Right,
you're telling me that instantly becomes...
Because unless you say no, then you're not in sandbox.
So you're having a polar opposite point to what I'm having.
Sandbox is an illusion?
That doesn't make sense to me, because what happens if the players say, well, I want to find out why they were fighting? Well, now all of a sudden it's not sandbox? Bullshit, because the players are the ones that are driving the story.
Because they're pissed.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because if they're the ones that are leading the story, that is a sandbox.
See, but that's the thing. That's not. And what happens if DM turns around and go, "Oh, they were fighting because they were pissed."
Then on to the next thing.
Well, the thing. The players are so used to being told what to do, and that as soon as it's like, basically, as soon as, say, the guards go, oh, look, that fight needs breaking up, a player will automatically assume there's a story there.
Yeah, to that extent, yes, I will agree with you. And as far as our personal playing group, at least with the old schoolers between me, Blaine, and Will, it's a style that, unfortunately, especially with the way we did things in 2015, became the standard, as opposed to the rare occasion. But the old school way of doing things, like I said, is I would seriously show up and have almost nothing, because the players drove the story. And it wasn't until I said, fuck, what was that, 6 months ago this happened? Because I kept tedious notes 3 months ago, and I sat there and looked at them and I went, okay, so I can make this an overarching story. But I never went, guess what? Ooh, cue spooky music. No, they fell upon it.
In Star Wars, if you look at my side of the screen, there are at least 12 different locations you didn't go to.
Right.
Yeah, which is an illusion of sandbox, because you went to whatever locations you wanted to.
Well, that's yes and no, because
it's an illusion.
That's yes and no, because we were put into a situation that we, for lack of better words, didn't have a choice otherwise.
It's like Cthulhu. Cthulhu is nigh on impossible to run sandbox because it is a detective game.
Yeah.
Yes, that I agree with.
Anyone that says Cthulhu, you can run Cthulhu Sandbox is absolutely full of. Don't ever go near them.
They're absolutely full of don't ever go near them.
Because they're just as crazy as everybody in Cthulhu.
Deadlands Noir cannot be run Sandbox.
I agree.
Because it's a detective game.
I agree.
Yeah.
That is okay. That is where I would definitely say games like that have the illusion of Sandbox. That I would 100% agree with. Because
no, they don't even have. They don't.
think
they have the illusion.
I hands down agree with Ant because everything we've ever done in Deadlands Noir so far. Now maybe it's just because of the ones I've played
twice.
So far, everything I've done in Noir, 3. I played 4 now, and
twice.
Every one I've played.
You played 2 modules.
Are you forgetting about the cons? Are you forgetting about all the other ones I played? I played yours twice.
Okay, so 3 different scenarios. Go ahead.
The limit of my education.
Go ahead.
Long story short, I agree with that 100% because it's like it's basically the clues. Now you might be able to go to this location or this location, whatever order you want, but the truth is you have to go to certain locations to get the clues you need to get to the final. That to me is completely real, and one of the reasons why.
Sorry, go on, Blaine.
Go ahead. No, I'm done. Go ahead.
I was going to say, well, one of the reasons is basically the amount of clues you get depends on how easy or difficult the end encounter is. If you get all the clues, your end encounter is easy because you've got all the information. If you haven't got all the information, then the end encounter is harder.
Yeah, in certain aspects, I don't think some of them are set up to where if you have all the information, the end is easy. I think a lot of it has to do with the way the dice system works, but at the same time, I kind of agree with what you're saying because you may have all the information you need to make your rolls easier or know what you need to do for the final encounter. But long story short, I just don't think it's a sandbox at all. I think it's a complete detective game, and it reminds me a lot of Cthulhu.
I think anything we're going to be playing, cops and robbers, detective, anything like that is going to be sandboxy.
Cops and robbers.
Non-sandbox.
It can't be sandboxy.
Yeah.
I mean, railroading.
Weird Wars.
Yeah.
Modular.
Weird Wars is modular.
Well, when you think about Weird Wars, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking about that, Ant, is Weird Wars it has to be the most railroady game you're ever going to play because you're being ordered to do something.
Oh no, Force and Destiny Beginner Box is definitely the most railroady game you will ever play.
That one literally has a path.
You land your ship at the bottom of a mountain. Can't we fly the ship up to the top of a mountain? No.
Why not? Because the module says so.
Weird Wars thing, but
go ahead. You went goofy for a minute. We should be back online now. Sorry about that. That was like we're having some really bad internet issues tonight.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know who was saying what, but I'll just sum it up by saying, fuck you guys. How about that?
Okay. Sounds good.
We're talking about Weird Wars.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and like Bubba put in chat, in Weird Wars, there was literally a railroad.
Jimmy Fentz said, I felt Weird Wars was a tiny sandbox. We had an overall mission, but an entire town as a sandbox. To respond to that, that's what I'm getting back to about the illusion of sandbox.
Right.
See, I disagree. You can have minor mission goals within a sandbox and it still be a sandbox. The problem is you can't lock people within those mission goals. Like, even if they get to the big badass's lair, if they decide, you know what, let's go do something else, they can't in a sandbox. You can't say, well, no, you have to continue that. Then you remove the sandbox.
I agree with that, but usually by then, you haven't locked the character in. They've locked their own character in. They've invested their character in a quest. So if you get to the big bad dragon and you walk away, your character is going to have to suffer the repercussions. You're a loser. You're a weakling, or.
But a sandbox, you can't remove choice. You can't remove any choice in a sandbox if the players want to do that. If the players want to go to the big bad guy and then they stab each other in the back, it's a sandbox.
That should be in a module too, though.
Well, hang on. I think that's what Jimmy Fett may have been alluding to with the Weird War sandbox, is because you were given orders to do a specific thing. Even when you found out there were Jews and innocents aboard that train, you were still told to carry out the mission. And that's when your character, Jamie, said, well, time out. We're not we're not doing this. We're going to find another way. That's where it became kind of sandboxy. I think that's where it was getting towards.
A sandbox at any point in time, even the initial orders, you could have said no and did something else. That's a sandbox. You can't move any choice.
You were also prepared for an alternate thing of doing it. Yeah, basically, you know, are they going to disconnect the Jews? You didn't expect us to blow the Jews up.
No, I did not.
Yeah, exactly, which means you were just hiding in the railroad.
Exactly.
It's the illusion of Sandbox. See what I mean?
Not if they all have choice.
Yeah, but I don't know. I still think it's a semantics thing. I really do. You call it an illusion, but I still... I mean, I see what you're getting at, but a true sandbox can still happen. And yes, I think it can still happen outside of Dungeon World. We've done it in D&D.
In OG.
OG is the ultimate sandbox game.
A sandbox, literally, all sandbox represents is freedom of choice. You can't remove any choice.
And you've always got that, whether it's a module or anything.
Exactly.
Not true.
So in other words, you have.
Not true. Because a module will give you an ultimate goal. You don't have to do that ultimate goal in the sandbox. There is no ultimate goal.
Yeah, but you don't have to do the ultimate goal in a module.
Nope.
Yes, but you're given that ultimate.
Yeah, but you'll get.
That's the difference.
Problem is, but it comes back to what I was saying. As soon as you accept a mission, you're out of sandbox.
Not if it's a minor mission, and you have freedom with choice through that mission.
Yeah, but you've always got freedom of choice through every mission.
This is fucking funny.
In a module, people are going. I mean, you can say, oh, well, they have choice, but in a module, people are going to go do that mission. In the sandbox, they don't have to.
Yeah, but they're going to go do that mission in a sandbox anyway.
Not necessarily.
Let them go. Let them go.
It's a bunch of five guys sitting around going, well, you're right, but so am I.
Well, I just don't think that the difference between a sandbox and a module should be that you choose to make a goal, or excuse me, the similarity doesn't make them the same. And what I'm trying to say is that just because in both set examples the characters choose, I'm trying to. Just because in both examples the characters choose to attack the main goal doesn't necessarily mean they're the same thing, is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't make a sandbox a railed campaign at that point. It just makes the sandbox have a goal.
Right.
All you do is basically you go from this set of rails to this set of rails. That's it.
The problem with way I'm seeing
with this, you've got all this space in between.
And in your example with your hands there, that just means that anytime you play a game, you're railed.
Yeah.
Which is true.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's such a broad example that you have to say sandbox exists within that game.
With Ant's decision of sandbox, the only way to be a true sandbox is to never play the game.
Exactly.
That's true.
I totally disagree with that.
As soon as you have one person saying yes or no to something, right, who's not a player, you have no sandbox.
Well, then I think that Jamie's right. It's semantics with you then, because you're looking at the exact description of sandbox. Then, of course, you can never adhere to that. That's like saying...
don't call it sandbox, then. Even a sandbox has a border to hold the sand in.
Exactly.
Then what the fuck do you call it?
That's in my argument, exactly.
Well, then
I call it pretentious shit.
I think Ant is that guy that eats shrooms and tries to sound intelligent, and everyone else is just kind of like, "What the fuck is this guy talking?"
Why is he talking about? Why is he talking about throwing jeans in a lake right now? Okay, I think that's enough arguing on that shit. Unless you guys got anything else you want to get out there, we can go ahead and just go wrap this up.
And Jamie and Will are stupid.
Yes. Okay. All right. Let's wrap this up.
Jamie started a conversation and went, "Oh, I ain't touching that one anymore."
Well, I have a problem with arguing in circles. It's fucking. That's why I got divorced. So let's get over and wrap this up. We'll be right back.
All right.
Your face.
What now? What now? Let me tell you what now.
Bring out the king.
Jesus Christ. But he's sleeping. We'll wake him up.
There you go. We'll wake him up there.
Yeah.
Maybe go get some of the brothers over here.
All right.
Really blowing your way.
Let's be done with this thing. Again, I apologize first and foremost. We hit a unique problem that we've never come across before. And we really want to get this Warhammer thing happening. I know I do. I know Ant does. He verbally abused me one show about playing Warhammer again. So hopefully...
No, I think you're not counting right.
Yeah, I need to count a little bit higher. So I hope you at least enjoyed what the audible was for tonight. We had to come up with something. We didn't want to just leave the listeners hanging. Thank you again, everybody that joined us in chat tonight. Very informative, as usual. Coming up, the next live session will be on January 17th at what time, Will?
Fuck.
Is it 1:30?
It's 8 p.m. normal people time.
Oh, that means it's noon, normal people time.
Regular people time. So it's either noon or 1:30 regular people time. We're going to do our first homebrew. I don't want to call it Sandbox, but our first homebrew of Will taking us up into Icewind Dale and some D&D.
I'm going to call it Module.
It's a railroaded piece of shit. Keep shoveling the coal in there, Will.
The shit out of that.
It's a mod box.
Yeah. So that'll be on January 17th. We'll tweet out the times. I want to say, I think that day it's 1:30 regular people time because there's a Niners game at 10 that day, if I'm not mistaken. And after that, the next day on Monday at 6 p.m. regular people time, Ant will continue to take us and the turncoat Frank through Star Wars. We're going to get that going again. And then the next live play, well, this was supposed to be live play, but hopefully Warhammer will actually kick off on January 26th. I'm really hoping that is the case. We'll try to get this problem figured out before then. So see, just like we were saying, we're promising you more content. That's going to be 4 episodes in the month of January.
Can I just say, Bugger says call it a campaign. A campaign is a series of modules.
Oh, fuck. Okay, come on. Just Bubba in chat, just shut up. We're not getting this shit going anymore. So, okay.
Unless you have freedom of choice, then it is a sand campaign.
Yeah, as soon as Bubba tells me he doesn't want to shut up, it's a sandbox.
It's so coarse.
You know what? It's whatever Bubba says it is.
Yeah, Bubba wins this round. He's with us. The Eagles don't win, neither do the Niners, so we're going to give this one to Bubba.
And we're all against the Carolina Panthers.
Yes, fuck the Panthers.
Win, so I'm always right.
Yeah, I'll be undertaking Star Wars Bubba. It's not module, it's not Sandbox, it's a Bubba.
Yeah,
a Bubba.
It's going to be written in Bubba style. So, Blaine, Ant, without saying anything, Blaine, can you get the contact info out there one last time?
No, I don't have it.
Are you looking at the chat, dude? Because it's all over our fucking page.
Yeah, but I fuck it up even with it sitting right in front of me to read off of it. So.
Contact info.
Ant, contact info one last time.
Well, okay, you can email us, the Gathering of Dorks at gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter at TGO Dorks. Jaime is jpearson71 at Willard is at Willard the Dork. And Blaine is at Quatovella, and I am at Elgaric. Frank doesn't yet have a Twitter.
Nope.
You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/TGO Dorks, and you can find our forums at nerds-international.proboards.com.
Make sure you leave us an iTunes review so Blaine can hopefully fuck up that name. Be sure to follow us on Twitter because we like to hear Blaine fuck up names. So I think that that'll wrap up this episode. Hopefully, next time we see you, we will be playing, and hopefully you guys will get your voted in Warhammer towards the end of January. We will see you guys for episode 56. Episode 56. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye, goodbye. Wipe the tear, baby dear, from your eye. Though it's hard to part, I know. I'll be tickled to death to go. Don't cry, don't sigh. There's a silver lining in the sky. Bonsoir, old thing, cheerio, chin chin, na poo toodaloo, goodbye.